Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Scream Scene. Jody Dean here. Today, I have a special treat, guys. I have Christopher Jamal Elston here. This guy is a writer, director, special effects, and stop motion artist of horror films. Just talked to him off camera. Awesome dude. Really passionate about this stuff. Chris, how you doing, brother?
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
Doing good, man. I'm excited to talk to you. As I was just saying, you're doing something different in the horror film, in the horror industry, and it's really what we need, man. Explain to me, like, where do you come from? What planet are you from? And what got you into filmmaking?
So I'll try to give you like the quick version of this. So pretty much, I'm an 80s kid. I grew up just like everybody else on VHS films, like, all the classics, The Thing, Evil Dead, and all that. But what was cool about my childhood, my introduction to horror films was my mom. She was the one she watched them a lot, so I watched them with her. And we were like one of the only people around the neighborhood at Betamax machine. So, the Betamax is you could put way more footage on that than you could the VHS tapes. So they had a guy that pretty much, he would just put all the horror. We'd get like one tape with like 5 different horror movies on it. So I binge watched a lot of shit I probably should not have watched at 7 years old with her. And one being like Basket Case. Like Basket Case, I saw that young, but that's to this day one of my favorite horror movies. So I've always kind of gravitated more towards like the more weirder, like again, like anything with stop motion in it, practical effects, monsters in the suit stuff. That's always been something that was connected with me. I mean, I love the slashers and the psychological horror, but that's always been the thing. On top of that, my mom was a little bit of an artist, so I started like doing sculptures early on in life. So it all worked together, like drawing and sculpting, and I seen how like creatures are made on camera. I want to start doing that stuff. So and again, like back in the 90s when I was in high school, they did not have the stuff then that we have now. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't able to get like a Super 8 camera and all that shit. So I was just pretty much like taking action figures and my video camera, shooting stuff and drawing comics. I really was into comics for a long time, but I still want to do movies. And then later on down the line, I when I got in like my 20s and I saw Tetsuo the Iron Man, and that's really the movie that made me want to make movies. When I saw that, wow. I was like, oh shit, it's got stop motion, it's got gore, it's this weird thing. And I kind of went from there. I spent a long time just writing stuff and I did a lot of like little short films that nobody will ever see. I don't know where they're at anymore. They're probably just gone. But I was going to try to make a movie back in 2007. It just didn't work out for a few reasons. I just wasn't ready. I just my writing wasn't bad. Like I kind of understood how to make a movie, but I just wasn't right where I need to be at. And the people involved at the time just weren't in my best interests. So that kind of phased out. Then we fast forward to like the mid 2000s. I got more back into comic books. And I did that for a while. That's why I got Flash Delirium LLC Publishing, because we actually did put out a few comics right before the pandemic. But the whole time I wanted to come back to film. And when I'm in Richmond, I got a lot of movie friends here, and I worked on a lot of sets in between. During all this, I always worked on other projects. And I got more familiarized how a set works and everybody's job. So that's kind of like my education as far as film. So I learned a lot, and I made a lot of connections. That's how I got a lot of my friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I shot a couple short films after that, and it got to the point where I said, okay, I think I'm ready to make something else. But it was like, what can I make with no money? Mm-hmm. So that's the thing. Like everything, a guy in a room, you would think that's cheap, but no, that still can cost money depending on what's going on. So at this point now, this is probably like right after the pandemic. Right now, I did a couple comic books, went to conventions, sold a little bit, but it was cool. I could have kept going that route, but I said no. I told Chaz, I said, because she already went to film school because she was wanting to be a cinematographer anyway. I said, babe, like it's you and me, we got a camera, so I can make shit. Let's try to let's just make something ourselves, like real quick, just to see if we can do something with special effects in it. So that Drain Brain thing you saw. We shot that back in that's almost 2 years old. I just recently released it because I was kind of holding out to when I want to drop it. Mm-hmm. The thing I want to do is, okay, I want to show something that shows I can do practical effects, I can do stop motion, and I can do prosthetics and right. a puppet. I want to do a puppet. And so if I can do all three of those in this short and people buy it, okay, we can make a movie. So we shot that. It took us about making a puppet took a little bit, but the actual shot, we did that like a weekend. And dude, like, you need to see the behind the scenes, because like my baby, he was just born at that. He was barely a year old. So I had him in a strap on my chest while I'm trying to shoot shots and stuff. What we're doing, I mean,
that's committed, man. That's committed.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I got to find it. I said this is worth it putting online to show whoever has kids and think they can't make film, they can make film. Like, I'm living proof of that. You just got to want to do it. But
that's awesome.
We shot that, and it came out pretty good. You know, we cut it together, and I showed it to like my friends first, my DPs. Oh, this is awesome, man. And originally I said, okay, maybe we can do like this, but a bigger version of it. And I told him, I said, let me write down a couple ideas. And I came up with this idea. Now, I can't talk about it too much right now, but that idea kind of gave birth to a bigger, you know, to this thing, which is pretty much, it's not Dr. Drain Brain, but it's definitely borrowing aspects from that. But and again, we've been shooting that for like the last 2 years right now. I mean, a year and a half. In between that, I've been doing the shorts you've been seeing. I told Chaz I didn't want to be in a position where I'm just waiting. I said, I need to keep momentum going. I said, and this is stuff I can do quick. You know, I try to, again, I'm shooting every one a week. I can drop online. At least I can kind of keep an engagement and people follow me. So when we get ready to drop the big thing later this year, we already kind of got it set up that people know who we are and what we're about.
Right. So well, that's really smart, man. So you're feeding you're feeding and continuing to try and establish a fan base while you're building the big dog, and then when you get there, you already got a little bit of a head start, man. Hey guys, this is what's up. Well, dude, I respect the hell out of you for what you're doing, because stop motion is not easy. You have to be very, very patient. I can look at what you're doing and I'm like, whoa, each frame, bro, the work you're putting into a frame is crazy. Tell us about that.
So, like, again, like, after Drain Brain, I did the Cthulhu one. I did the one with the witch and stuff. It's kind of like I'm disciplining myself and really trying to stress, like, working with nothing. You know, that's kind of like my thing. I want to show people, like, you know, there's no point in me trying to wait around, you know, because, you know, buying supplies like latex, so that it gets expensive. You know, saying then you got to do cast molding and all that. I ain't got time for that right now. So I said, okay, I can take what I got around the house. I can take saran wrap and wires and stuff. And I would say, all right, I'm gonna if I can do everything in a week from concept to finish, I said I'll take the first 2 days, come up with the creature or doll, make that. Then the rest of the week I'll make a diorama. Then that weekend or that, you know, I'll shoot. And that's what we did, you know, and that's how that's been kept on going from there. Like right now, the one I'm dropping tonight is a live action. It's kind of like the first was live action mixed with stop motion. It's short. It's just kind of showcasing effects. But we shot a few in advance. So by the time you see this one, I've already got 3 more already done, and so I can stay ahead.
That's awesome. And that's on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, so I try to drop them simultaneously on YouTube and Instagram, you know, because YouTube is weird with that algorithm thing. I try to drop it when I know most people see it. But, you know, my Instagram, I mean, people always see it on there, but it's there. You know what I'm saying? Like I told Chaz, I'm not really attached to them. I just want to keep to me, it's more about consistency, because people will always go back and watch the stuff. And but yeah, so just those 2 platforms. I got a Facebook too, and sometimes my Instagram will drop it on there, but I really just focus on, you know, the YouTube and Instagram.
Yeah, I'm thankful for the Instagram, because that's how I came across you. Now I don't know exactly how I landed on your page, but I seen your picture, your default picture, your thumbnail picture, whatever. And I was like, are those lasers coming out of his eyes? I was like, okay, I like that, looks cool. Let's see what okay, I see the cameras. I'm reading the bio and I'm saying, oh, he does stop motion and he does horror. Wait a second. Hold on. And I've said for years, stop motion is something that I can really see coming more to the forefront, to where like maybe each year we can see motion pictures going to theaters in stop motion in the horror scene. That's what I want to see more of. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a big market there that I don't think's been fully tapped in. It's got a huge fan base, but come on, like there is so many fans to still be had for the stop motion that don't even know they love it yet. It's their future favorite thing.
Yeah, and like I mean, could do like the thing, like a lot of the horror films we watch, pretty much all the major special effects of the 80s had a bit of stop motion in it. The Thing had stop motion in it at the very end when, like, the Blair thing burst out of the ground. That was stop motion.
Right.
Again, like, Basket Case. There's just been so many. I mean, again, like going back to Ray Harryhausen era, like he was just the man. I mean, to this day, they still don't know how he did a lot of that shit he did. He took it to his grave. But the thing about stop motion I like is it's got the surrealism, especially in horror, right? It's artificial, but it feels more real than that CG stuff that's put out.
That scene you have with the monster thing coming out of the sink. Dude, I watched that 3 or 4 times, and I even called my son over and I said, dude, look how cool this is. Like, I would love to see more stuff like that. Now, I can see the difficulty in doing a movie with it. However, I'm sure when you're doing these movies, you're probably like, okay, we're going to have this big scene, lots of action, lots of dialogue, this big scene. So it's kind of spread out to where it does make it possible. Because, I mean, can you imagine an hour and 20 minutes of doing nothing but nonstop stop motion? It could probably be a little overwhelming.
So, I mean, like, troubleshooting was a big thing too. That's why I did like the smaller thing. I'm always learning something new. I'm also learning. I hate to say cut corners, but you learn tricks. You learn a lot of tricks. And the biggest thing about stop motion and practical effects, you always make it for the camera. Because a lot of that stuff you see it off camera, this is some weird looking things. No, look at with the camera and the lighting and the framing. What I'm saying? That's, if you always have that in your head, a lot of it work out. Also, right now, with every project I'm doing, whether it be shorts or the feature, I kind of work backwards. I create the thing first, and I kind of base it around that, so I know my limitations. Versus trying to make this ambitious script, and then okay, how the hell we gonna shoot this? We got to condense everything. I suppose a lot of time wasted when you can just do it the smart way. Make it first. Make your little creatures, whatever. Let's build it around that, and it's it saves a lot of time and everything.
I like that. Actually, there's a video that I dropped on this channel today that where I kind of talk about that in a certain kind of way, like look at what you have and then write the script.
Right.
So that's basically what there's this video on how to make a movie I just dropped today. It's called 101, new segment I'm doing here once a week, where I'm going to try and drop little nuggets of inspiring information, hopefully. And like, yeah, man, if you don't have a helicopter, stop putting it in your script. If you don't know 2 or 3 ambitious, eager people ready to jump on camera and say, hey, we'll do this for the hell of it because it sounds fun.
Right.
Don't put 3 people in your script. You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like, work with what you got and then just put your heart and soul in it, man. And if you got it, it's going to show.
Yeah, and that was the good thing about working on a lot of short film and stuff over the years and just working on other people's stuff. You learn a lot of things because you see what works and what doesn't work. You see the mistakes they make and you try not to make them. Again, like one of the biggest things that I've seen a lot of guys make is they don't plan stuff out. They don't rehearse. They don't do shot lists, which is insane to me. I do storyboards. I do all that stuff. Even my DP, like on the feature we did now, there's a lot of rehearsing going in. We planned everything out. How we're going to do it. And we did rehearse with the actors and stuff. And it's not that, I don't work with a lot of actors. I don't like ensemble cast because it's just too much for me to keep up with. If I can tell the same story with 4 people or hell, even 3 people, I'd rather do that than a cast of 40. But, some people can do it. It's just not my thing right now.
Too many cooks in the kitchen, too many brains in one head. I've said that same thing for years. Now I have got to a point where I'm like, okay, well, we got to up the body count of the last film.
Yeah.
And there's more people when there needs to be more people. But I love everything when it's very simplistic, man. There's something, if you're a filmmaker, you got enough to worry about, especially if you're doing more than one job. Now you're creating the monsters. You're doing, you said the storyboards, the shot list, like. You're directing this thing and you're acting in it, right?
I got one part. I'm not in the whole thing, but there is one part we could talk about off camera that was out of necessity because I didn't know if I was going to get somebody because I had to make something for this for whoever had to do it, and I knew I was going to be in the thing and not bail out. So I was stuck with doing this one part. But yeah, pretty much. But luckily, again, like my fiance. She was wearing a lot of hats too, and she's kind of like my eye. She knows what I want visually, so she can step in as like my AD or second unit. Even my DP, like him and I we're in sync. We've known each other for years. We like the same stuff. So he was another one. Like if I got to step back and do something else, he can take over and get the vision across. So
That's awesome.
Again, I was just fortunate. Like I just have people surrounding me who are just very talented, and we're just on the same page. You know that, like when everybody's
Yeah.
on the same page and want to do it, you can work magic. But when you got people fighting egos and shit, it never works out.
Dude, yeah, ego has came up in 3 different interviews in the last 48 hours. It's crazy, man. And what that really boils down to is I think ego happens when people lose passion for
Yeah,
something, and their passion now is something that's the color green, and it's like, my buddy the other day was like, if he's like, bro, if I win the lottery, he's like, dude, I can't wait to keep doing what I'm doing now. And I was like, I feel the same way. Like, I love what I'm doing now, and I come from no money. I have a little money now, and I haven't changed. If anything,
right.
I'm closer to the ground than I ever been. But a lot of people, man, especially in the film business, because we're talking big money.
Yeah,
If it doesn't hit, we're talking nothing. If it does hit, it's usually not small potatoes. I mean, it can be life changing, and a lot of people, they don't know how to handle that. And what happens is when it comes to their next project, they remain a one hit wonder because they lost that creativity and
oh,
they
you see
got
it all the
lost in the
time.
sauce. Yeah.
That's my thing. Again, I tell my fiance, I said, look, yes, I would love to do this as my full-time job. Maybe I'll be blessed or fortunate enough that will happen. But even then, like if I, real talk, if I could do this and make $100,000 a year, that's cool
Happy.
for me. You know what I'm saying? I can
Yeah.
I can buy a house, pay my car off, and have something for my kid.
Mhm.
I'm cool with that. I don't have to fucking run the red carpet and be, Academy Award winning. I don't get time for it. But that don't mean nothing, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to have fun. I told her, I said, if I ever do this and I'm not having fun, that's when I'll stop. You know,
True.
and
Yeah.
yeah, we all get stressed out on set. I mean, shit, you know what I'm saying? You go, oh, I'm gonna do the shot. I'm running behind. I mean, that's natural. But when you just don't, when you dread getting on set to shoot it, then you need to kind of step and walk away from it,
That's
dude.
true. Wow. Yeah, that's that's so powerful. Yeah. If you if you're going there and you're miserable, then what the hell are you? I mean, that goes for anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
You know,
And I've
life's too
seen,
short to be doing it that way.
yeah, I've seen guys that are just miserable. I mean, again, no big names. It's people who are just crew. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what's crazy to me is, I mean, there's I mean, a job's a job, right? But there's a lot of shitty jobs out here. But if you're on a film set and that's your job, like, you should be happy. I mean, that's like you're doing something, But some people are just miserable doing that. Like, man, that's just I mean, I guess maybe they never had a real job before or something. But
Yeah, can you imagine? Oh man, I can't believe I gotta hold this boom pole again today. Life sucks. It's like,
yeah,
dude, really? You're working on a set, you're making magic. You know what? I think at the end of the day, there are people that just take things for jobs, and there's people like you and I, man, that are hoping to turn something we love into a job. And when we get there, the last thing we're gonna, nothing really changes, man. Like, I think that stress that you feel coming from a set are issues like, man, when the weather changed up from what we planned for, this person's late, this thing's
right, yeah,
malfunctioning here. I understand being like a little, bummed or upset in the moment, depending on how important the money's on the line, what you're shooting. But dude, it also helps you learn how to deal with other things in life, because the chaos that I've dealt with from learning, from showing up on set, having those issues, has helped me with just being better at
right,
understanding and living through chaos in real life
yeah,
outside
man.
of the filming. So
Exactly, and I mean, I'm trying to do like bad experience I've had on sets. I think the worst thing I ever ran across, and again, this is just off small stuff, is a lot of, like, directors just having meltdowns, and again, egos, man. Like,
yeah,
that I'm this, I'm that. Like, dude, like, we're all here just trying to help each other out, make a film. Like, it's not, we start like belittling people and walking. I mean, that's I ain't got time for that, man. I
I
mean,
hate that, bro. I've seen it too, man. And whenever I first started doing filmmaking in my 20s, like taking it serious, like I had worked with the camera off and on throughout my life, but in my 20s, I was like, I'm really going to do this. I knew people that were, filmographers. They had their hands in lighting and sound and stuff, and we all came together, and I was like, hey, I want to do this. Or like, we want to do that too. And we would do it together. But then I would see like how they would treat talent when they would show up. like this one actor one day, like we're filming this set. He's there to work for free. It was a short film. I was like 25, 26 years old. The guy seen that they were having a lighting issue trying to bounce the sun off a reflector.
Right.
And this actor that's done that job before, just like, hey, do you mind if I help you real quick? And he kind of stepped out, like you're there to act, but he stepped out just trying to help. And the guy was like, get your ass back on set. You're an actor. You're no fucking lighting tech or something like that. And I'm like, whoa, holy shit.
I've seen that. Yeah.
I'm like, I get it, but dude, you don't ever treat anybody like that, especially like your talent, dude. Like that's just crazy. But I've seen that multiple times. It got to a point to where I couldn't wait to do it by myself.
Yeah, you know, and the people forget, like, I gotta say, like, you know, if no matter what happens, never try not to burn bridges. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, if things go south, then just walk away from a professional point of view, but don't burn bridges because you never know who, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How they can bite you in the ass later on down the line. You know, and there's been a lot of people, you know, that have done that and nobody wants to work with them again. You know, I mean, people talk, you know, so.
Absolutely. What about beyond stop motion? Or do you think stop motion would be in anything that you do from here out for the rest of your time in horror film? Is that just something that is like, okay, it's embedded in you now, like, yo, stop motion's my thing? Or can you see yourself doing maybe a horror feature that's not in stop motion, just something totally different?
Well, the thing I'm working on now is a combination. You know, it's pretty much live action, but some of the effects are stop motion. There's definitely more puppet stuff in the thing coming up. I'm still like, you know, crafting my skill stop motion. I'm technically, this is like for me like year 2 stop motion, but I've been just cranking away at it. There's a few things I want to do. There's one, depending on what happens, there is one feature or at least an episode, like episodic type thing that's all stop motion I would love to do. But as far as incorporating stop motion into my features, maybe the next 2, if I'm able to make more films, you know, let's say I capped myself off of like 10 films. I would make 10 films and I'm done. Out of that 10 films, I would say there's 3 that I would do this and the other ones I probably wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what's your favorite kind of horror films?
Like I'm more the funny horror type stuff, like Evil Dead. I mean Evil Dead 1 is pretty serious. You know, more like Evil Dead 2. Like I said, Frank had a lot of stuff like Basket Case, Brain Damage. But I do like more monster stuff, like, you know, I like the Alien movies, The Thing, The Fly. I love The Fly. That's pretty much my stuff. I was big on slasher for a long time. I thought I was going to do I want to do a slasher movie, but slashers kind of took in a resurgence now. So I don't really want to. You know, there's a lot of guys that's killing it in that, so I don't really want to do that. But I like a lot of the slashers. But 80s, no, pretty much all the stuff in the 80s is my favorite genre. I mean, horror wise.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line, we need somebody keeping practical alive and practical monsters, especially, man. Like, that's something that we're not seeing hardly anymore. You know, people building the giant puppets, getting in the suits and walking around and acting out. You know, I miss more of that.
You know, I think the reason I think it is, it's hard making that stuff, because again, especially if you're doing it from scratch, because a lot of stuff I do is from scratch. There's no templates, there's nothing. I make it all from nothing. You know, and a lot of people have a hard time doing that. You know, then they start, you know, if they try to hire somebody, the price tags are horrifying to them. You know what I'm saying? It gets up there. Whereas now, like a lot of people, they'll do the CG, or they won't do it at all. They'll just do like, you know, most things, again, slashers is an easier one to do. Zombies, that's kind of played out now, but that was a big thing for quite a while.
It had a long run, man. I had wanted to jump in it too. And by the time I was ready to do it, I was like, dude, I don't think I want to touch it. It's just been overkill.
I love zombie films, especially back, you know, in the heydays of them, but I would never make one. I mean, I would, I mean, I just don't, I mean, there's not, what else is there to do with it at this point? But haunted house thing, that's another thing I see, you know, because again, that's cheap. You know, that's the sound effects and, like, you know, what you don't see. But yeah, but then there's guys like who's the guy that did Psycho Gorman and the Void. No, he's doing stuff. And again, like Damon Leon's doing practical effects. You know, so there are definitely guys that's doing it, you know, and we do need more though. And I think that's something that's gonna make a comeback, dudes, with AI and shit, and people getting tired of all this artificial stuff. I really think the practical effects, that's never gonna go away. I think no matter what happens, there will always be an audience for that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that, and I mean I want that to be and to continue. There's nothing like you and I were talking before we started this interview about CGI blood and CGI, kill shots and blood splatters. It just it takes it makes it look horrible. Like you can be having like the perfect scene selling this realism, and then all of a sudden you see this fake blood splatter, and you're like, did that blood splatter just disappear in midair?
Dude, like, I love, saying Rob Zombie's Devil's Rejects. That's my favorite film he's made. Out of everything he's done, I love Devil's Rejects. That film was so well done with the gore and the grime, the throwback. But that one scene, I'm talking about, that one scene with the CG blood in it. Like, oh man, it just took me out of it. I mean, why did he do that? But but that's just an example of how it just it can. I feel it can hurt the film sometimes, especially if you're involved in it and something like that comes up. But I mean, Robert Rodriguez, I know he's big on doing that stuff too. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know.
AI and CG, is crazy how much it is used nowadays. But when it comes to films and stuff, I do see people getting sick of it sooner than later, and I think it is already happening there. You're seeing a lot more appreciation right now for practical effects, and a lot more people caring about it. Like younger generation that didn't even grow up in the 80s, or they missed a lot of the stuff in the 90s because that's when they were being born, right? But like now I'm starting to see a lot of younger people talk about, man, and it had practical effects. I'm like, what do you know about practical effects? And like you're seeing an appreciation. Right. It's like the kids collecting the retro video games now. They're like 15 years old. Dude. I'm like, what do you know about Super Mario World? Like,
it's crazy. So on that, this is kind of off subject. So me and my girl, we was at the mall yesterday, and we went to this one store. I forgot the name of the damn store. But everything in the store is 90s now. Like 90s made a comeback. Like the old, like they weren't Jenko jeans, but they were definitely the baggy jeans.
They're playing Jenko jeans.
Yeah, dude, I mean, we were like, are we back in high school again? They're playing Stone Temple Pilots on the radio. I mean, the kids running the store, they couldn't be no more like 19, 20. They didn't know shit about none of this stuff. But like, that's the thing. Like, it's weird how like, the 80s was a big thing for a while. Now we're in the 90s. Like it's almost like systematically. It's weird how like it just happens organic, like that.
But, I agree. And it's a good thing for us too, because like if they're falling in love with that era and the nostalgia, then that means for filmmakers like us that are going to have that feeling of an 80s horror film done in a modern day, right? Like it's like it's going to be appreciated by the newer generation, and maybe that means they keep it alive down the road when they realize they want to be filmmakers, right?
Oh, absolutely. We just got to keep putting it out there, and I think the one advantage special practical will always have is hands-on. Like it's something you actually make, and I think there's a lot of people who like making stuff, and you can't, and that's why it holds up better. What was it? It was a couple like movies from the early 2000s that had CG, like graphics look terrible, did not hold up. But you go back to the 70s and 80s with practical, you can tell it's stop motion or it's like a guy in a rubber suit, but it's just it's the fact that it's real, it's made, it just holds up better, man. It
100%.
just does.
Yeah. So anything like in recent years that have come out, like in the last few years, I know we talked about Terrifier. You were supporting that one, All Hallows Eve.
Oh yeah,
is there anything more recently that's come out that's been really captivating, appealing to you in the horror field?
This is still like a few years back. Mandy, Panos Cosmatos' Mandy. I think that's my favorite modern horror film right now. I think that kind of set up that's where we need to go hard, that movie. I love everything about it. So
wow. Okay. All right. Well, that's what's up. And you like what they're doing with Terrifier?
Yeah, because like the cool thing with Terrifier, again, like not just following along, from its early beginnings to where it's become, but I went to the theater to see Terrifier 2, and I made sure I bought my ticket, and me and my buddy went. Same. And it was sitting there, I'm just like, man, this is beautiful. It is 2022, and I'm watching an unrated mega slasher gore in the theater, and people are liking it. Like, I thought this would never happen again, you know, and that was, again, that had me want to make films too. Like, that was very inspirational. So I love what it did, man. Like, it's beautiful. You know, against the budget, how they had this, there was some showings, they put it in more theaters, and how it became this big, it grossed $10 million against like a $200,000 budget. I mean, that's beautiful, man. That's the independent filmmaker's dream.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And you know, talking to people that are intertwined with that, I've heard that after 2, a lot of people came knocking, a lot of people came calling, studios started stepping in there, and like, but immediately what they wanted to do was change the formula, and they're like, oh no, we'll keep it independent. And that's, I mean, that's kind of what people have to look forward to. You know, you're always thinking to yourself, man, it'd be cool, I got this really good script, somebody would come and put a big old stack down and let me do my thing. But they won't ever let you do your thing. If somebody's investing their money, they're going to be watching over your shoulder, and, you know, changing stuff. Rob Zombie said it, like with I think it was the Halloween remake that he did. He was man, it was just constantly like the phone ringing, like, what the hell's going on?
And, you know, I never understood that for 2 reasons. Like Terrifier, for example, like, this movie made its money for what it was. Why are you trying to not make it the thing that made it money? It's just, it's insane to me. Then, absolutely, like, you know, there's a lot of directors like us, you know, for example, usually when a Hollywood picks up a independent directors, because they did this crazy little not short film, but crazy little independent film that was just not like nothing else. And they said, okay, this guy has a vision. They, you know, we need him. But then when you hire them, everything that made them special, you want to take it away. Like, you can't do this. You can't. Oh, wait, well, why am I here? Now I'm a damn drone. Like, I never understood that.
Perfectly said, man. It's the truth. You approach them because they have something special, or is it because, again, egos in play? Oh, they're looking at the numbers. You're not looking at the art. Like, bro, that's some shit, man. Like, that. It's got to feel good for somebody. Like, I'm just throwing out names. I'm not saying any of this happened, but like, it's got to feel good. Universal Studios comes to you and offers you $4 million to do your next film. It's got to feel terrible to know they never watched the fucking film. They just looked at the numbers on the board. It's like, bro, like, I don't know if I would take that as a compliment or not. Like, I guess it would depend on your life situation, but probably at this stage right now, I would say,
right. But
I'm good.
but the real scary thing about it is that could destroy your career, because like, if you grew, you know, if you got a fan base based off what you do, right, then you go to Hollywood, you know, first thing, oh, he sold out. I mean, I hate that word sell out, because people got to make a living, right? But if the thing doesn't work out, then they cast you out. Oh, he can't make it, but he's a hack. Like, you know what I'm saying, blacklisted. Like, he's blacklisted because you guys didn't let him be, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
you blacklisted him. You got him blacklisted.
Yeah. So, you know, it's a scary thing. Very few, like, the one guy who did remember Lights Out. So remember the short to Lights Out? That was an awesome short. And like, you saw
I don't remember, but like, I do remember hearing about this. So I kind of know what you're talking about.
Was probably to this day, probably one of the most, as far as like scaring you, like, you know, that it did a good job of that. But the feature film is like, it just didn't have it, man. It was like just another one of those jump scare. You know, it just like, everything to make that short work. You thought the studio would have gave them the money to really make it pop. No, you know, and that's just a good example of how, like, they don't get it, man.
Yeah. Indie, I mean, indie's the way to go, not just because, you know, you can call your own shots, dude, but just because, I mean, you can do things on your own time. And, you know, I was talking with somebody earlier today, and they were saying there's deadlines. And I was telling you, man, like, bro, I won't say to the supporters when it's coming out until I know it can come out.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to work at your time. Like, I'm the filmmaker. Like, you know, it's going to come when it's ready to come. Because, like, at the end of the day, you can set whatever deadline you want. The result will always be what it's going to be. Absolutely. Most of these films right here, bro, like, when you can put your heart and soul into a film. I know a guy that spent $1 million making an indie horror film. And I was sitting there one day and I'm talking to him, and I was like, yeah, at this time I had sold like 6,000 copies, and I'm proud of that. But I was like, yeah, it's like, it only sold like 6,000 copies. And he was like, dude, He was like, he's like, you need to be prouder than that. And I was like, I am. And he was like, no, he's like, I heard it. He's like, you're disappointed. I said, I'm not disappointed. I said, when it was going, I just thought it was going to just keep going. And he was like, look, I spent $1 million making this indie horror film and we didn't even sell 1,000 DVDs. And at that moment right there, I was like, I felt bad for him, but I was happier. And I was like, it could have went that way for me.
Right.
It's roll of the dice. It could have went that way for Terrifier. Bro, you can have the best film in the world. It don't matter. It could be on what time you post that film.
That's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah. What the weather's like. You know, it's like there's so many factors. I've seen it on YouTube. The algorithm on YouTube is like that.
I hate that shit, man.
If there's 50 other stop motion people posting the same day you are, it's a gamble whether yours is going to get seen. You take somebody like me, it's does paranormal stuff, scary adventures. It's gotten so hard now. If you're somebody new coming to the platform, you got to release 10 times more content just to have the chance. It's scary.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like double-edged sword with all this. Like, this is a great time for independent filmmakers to put stuff out, but at the same time, there's so much content getting cranked out. Like, you really gotta. I don't like saying luck, but you definitely, you got that timing, dude. You got to get that right timing and like the marketing. That's another thing. But something I want to talk to you about, because when I interview a lot of film people, is distribution. I always feel that's the one thing that nobody really. There's a million how to make movies out here, but distribution seems to be the one that's the most overlooked, and it's probably the most important, right? And so you pretty much do it yourself.
I do my own distribution, and I was talking to Phil Falcone this morning, and I was telling him about this, and he was telling me that he did the same thing on Terrifier 1. Like there was some self-distribution done, especially with like Indiegogo packages, because like they did this fundraising thing to where like they were, and he was like, when it came time to deliver the people's packages, we did it all ourselves. Well, yeah, so I do all mine myself. Luckily, my girl graduated from law school, so like she's been a big asset making sure things get done right on the legal, route and everything like that. But ultimately, dude, I mean, I do the contracts, I do the filing with Amazon, with Prime myself. So my first movie's on Prime, second movie's set to go on Prime October 11th. So I set up with Prime or anybody I'd want to stream through. I go to the marketing company, the duplication center, and I actually get these DVDs pressed up myself, shrink wrapped, barcoded, ready for shelves. And I call the stores. I go to the stores. Like, I make the deals myself. Now, could I just call, was it ITN or one of the many distribution companies out there and say, hey, I got this movie. You'll take this much percentage and just take it off my hands. You could. But sometimes you never realize how big that film's going to be. Like, I'd rather eat the cost in shipping than giving them points away on a movie.
Exactly. And that's kind of my mentality about it, at least for the first few things, especially like since it's not like I took out this big loan or I got all these angel investors. I got I promise I'm going to make this money off. So financially, there's really no risk. Mm-hmm. So I can take this movie and like make DVDs and stuff. And like, even a theater, like, you can $500, you can get a show in a theater for like a night. I mean, I'd rather that than pay $500 to send it to festivals that may never get into, So, and I'm pretty sure, like, just here in my area, all the people me and my crew know, I can do a sold out showing easily, to make a little bit of money. So the first film, maybe the second one, I don't really. My goal is really not to go the traditional distribution route. I mean, there's a couple of them that I might entertain, but again, I've talked to a lot of guys, and I've heard the stories. Pretty much everybody unanimously told me the same thing. If you can't get was the MG money guaranteed up front, don't do it.
That's the problem, but is with a lot of the companies, if you're going to hand them the product and they're going to take it from there. If they're not giving you anything, if they're not putting any value on you at all, they're taking your project because they see value there. If they're not going to give you nobody signs a book deal without getting like a little bit of an advance. Nobody signs a record deal without getting some upfront money. A lot of these distribution companies, and I've talked to a shitload of filmmakers that have told me they didn't give me no money up front. And I'm like, well, why'd you take the deal?
Ooh, man,
And
that's
they're like, oh, well, you know, they're going to get it on shelves in Walmart. They're going to do. I'm like, well, that's good. How's it selling in Walmart? I haven't seen no money yet. We don't make money till their cost is recouped. They're pressing up the copies. They're shipping it out. They're doing this and that. And I'm like, well, how many copies are they shipping out? Okay, 20,000 copies. It's going to be a while before you see anything, because how are you going to promote that movie that's sitting on the shelf? Back in the day, in the mom and pop VHS stores, Blockbuster Video, Hollywood Video, we go there to look for films. We're scanning. Okay, what looks good? We've seen everything. We'll watch that. Nowadays, Walmart's not like that. People aren't going. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and they're about to get away from physical media. Like, Best Buy, they're done. I mean, it's coming. Like, I tell everybody, guys, it's coming. Like, hold on to your shit, because it's going to be a niche thing. These stores they're not making money off that stuff anymore.
Yeah. It takes collectors nowadays to invest in physical media. People that are really passionate about watching, or they want to collect the film because they feel like it has value. Not necessarily like, hey, I'm going to cash out on this movie one day, but it has value to them as a collector. Like, you know, oh, you're into the Chucky frame. I got to have every Chucky DVD. I got to have the toys. I got to have the posters. You know, it seems like it's come to that point right there, which I'm a huge fan of. I've got my DVD collection over here of horror films. Then over here, I got my VHS, and I'm like, I want to own them, but most people just want to watch. They want to be a one and done.
That is true. See, man, with me, like, this is my fear about physical media. So I'm gradually trying to collect like discs and tapes and stuff. But every time I go to a thrift shop, I pick up a VHS machine. Every time I got stacks of VHS.
Dude,
machines.
Me too. Oh my God, fuck.
Every time, I mean, it's like a high for me, man. Like, oh, I got some pretty cool ones. I can't find. I've been trying to find the real old ones, like the wood grain with the pop-up top. Those like dinosaurs. But I mean, I've been getting like the most late 80s, 90s ones pretty much. I got one, the VHS/DVD player, which is hard to find too.
Yeah.
But tape players and shit, I always get all that shit, man. I got like a whole room of that shit.
Dude, I'll send you a picture when we get off the call of some I have. I actually, about a month and a half ago, I went into this hospice store, and you know, unfortunately people die, man. They get the shit and they sell it, right? And I went in there, and there was a brand new VHS player, never opened, sealed in the box, and it was just like grail stuff to me, because my kids joke with me all the time. They say, Dad, are you preparing for like a zombie apocalypse or something? And I'm like, I am, because like, you don't understand, like, one day it's going to be damn near impossible to get your hands on a VHS player. And if you do, it's because you had to spend a lot of money to do it.
I got a shitload of that CD player. Dude, I got like old CR TVs. I got a fucking one for free. It's actually in the movie. It's a 1970 Sony Trinitron.
Ooh.
Wood grain. Dude, this TV is like this big, right? It's the fucking heaviest TV in my house. Like, I caught hell walking up the stairs trying to put it in this apartment, but it works. Comes on. It's got that nice little static. You know, everything about it. It's I love it, man.
Dude, that is so cool, man. Yeah. See, I like you even more now. I when I seen what you were doing, I'm like, this is too unique. I mean, I talked to a lot of horror people, but it almost seems like it's always going to be almost the same conversation, and I'm okay with that, because I mean, people do have different ways they tell a story, show a story. I'm very into like the way things are shot, bro. Like I've been studying shots since I was a kid.
It's
and
wild,
that's just,
man.
The way you can tell a story with a lens is what really is amazing to me. And in my second movie, I really showed my cinematography skills. Like that's my baby right now. But you know, one thing is that I'm seeing here is people that are really passionate about this. They live it and breathe it all the way around. It ain't one or the other. It's like, you're engulfed.
Dude, like I got a fucking like case right there, a lot with Transformer toys in it. You can't see it from here. I got all kinds of Transformer toys. I mean, I'm a big toy collector. I love collecting
G1?
Like robots. I got some G1. Some of them are they're G1, but they're the newer versions of it. Like I got a G1 Jetfire in there.
Oh, cool.
But I got the line that came out right during the pandemic was the War on Cybertron line. and they're pretty much
Wow.
the G1s, but there's better versions of them. Like my Optimus Prime, like you can open up the chest, it's got the damn Matrix of leadership in it. I got a big ass Scorponok. I got a Voltron. Like I'm all about the robots and stuff, man.
That is so sick, dude.
Hell yeah. But the thing I want to say about the physical media is that people have to understand what you got there. What's that?
I was just gonna ask, man. You ever seen this one before?
And Seminole, yeah, that's the original one too, ain't it?
It is, boy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice,
bro. I show this to people sometimes. I showed it to Phil earlier, and he knew what it was. But I show it to people sometimes, and I'm like, I never seen that one. I'm like, bro, look at here, man. Like, you know, I was born in 1984, bro, and like I can personally say that I've seen every movie from, you know, like.
Oh yeah, I've seen a good bit. I mean, there's still a few of them I missed, but I've seen all the crazy shit. But with that, what I always tell people is you got to look at the way technology is going, right?
Yeah,
they want you to put everything on the cloud. Everything you own, every physical media, music, video, they want everything on that damn computer hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is, even if things, I mean, if it's on your physical hard drive, you won't lose it. But if you're putting everything on your Amazon account, they can take that shit away from you, so you really never own it.
Right.
The other thing that's scary is I'm looking at the censorship aspect of it. So let's say there's a horror movie we like, right, that we've watched for years, but now it's not considered PC or whatever the fuck you want to call it. They could easily edit the hell out of that movie, and the original one, it's like it never existed. So the thing that kids see 20 years from now is not the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So physical media is proof of its existence, in my opinion.
I agree. And it's getting sad that you know, I'm seeing it with video games. I'm seeing they're reproducing video games, they're repopping them, and I'm seeing it with. Luckily, they are. You know what they are starting to do, man? Oh my god, they're starting to bring back VHS. Now they're doing it in like limited runs, but I was telling Phil this earlier, man. Like they have Terrifier on VHS. I don't know if you knew that.
I saw something on not Facebook, on Instagram, but a lot of there's a lot of guys do like their little third party things. So I didn't know if it was like that or like I've seen there's been a few. There's a couple guys that do horror, like when they do the horror movies for their Indiegogo, they'll do a limited VHS of it.
I love that, bro. Like that. I think that I'm so happy to see vinyl coming back. I'm so happy to see the VHS are slowly getting there. And we're seeing a lot of video games as well. They're getting remakes, like this limited run company. They're taking things from like the Dreamcast and they're putting it on carts to where you can play it on a Switch now, and it's the original game, but like the coding and everything is on point. So I mean, they're making nostalgia available for this younger generation. So I mean,
and kids, they're like it. But think about like this is a weird one. So the one thing I love about like tapes and stuff is the smell of it. I love the smell of plastic.
Yeah.
It's just got like we crack open that VHS, like the clamshell one, like just get that woof of that plastic smell. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. It's like for me, it's like a fresh pair of Jordans, but but it's funny. You hit on a few things there I don't hear people say too often. You were talking about the wood grain, and I was like, man, I got one of those sitting in my bedroom right now. I'm watching my movies on. Like, that's stuff that really means so much to a person that wouldn't even want to make films had they not grown up and had the opportunity to witness that stuff and see it. And movies just look so much better on a CRT. They look so much better on a VHS tape, man. It actually has the film look.
It's more, and also it's more intimate. It seems like we watching like something about this big hunk of plastic with this tiny little screen, and on that tiny little screen you're watching like this film. It's kind of like it's got clarity, but no, it's got like the lines and stuff on it. It's something about that. It just I don't know. It just feels right, especially with horror movie. Anything horror related just works good on that,
Yeah, they had some really great, clear filmed films in the 80s and in the 90s, man. Like they had some great cameras, which is crazy because, like I'm watching some films sometimes and I'm just like, what the hell camera were they using? Like this thing was way ahead of its time.
Because they had like I know like they started using like some people started using like the video cameras, but like the film cameras, like especially like the Aries, like the because a lot of them, like I know like Sam Raimi and them, like if you were doing an independent film back in the 80s, most guys couldn't afford to do 35 millimeter. So they would shoot on 16 and get blown up to 35 millimeter and do the transfer.
Right.
So, you know, that's why a lot of films looked the way they did at that time. But yeah, man, there's just something, I mean, with the technology we have now, it's not so much noticeable, but there was a time where, like, especially like the early 2000s, you could tell like digital from film, like it was just night and day. It's gotten a little better now, but I mean, if I had the opportunity to shoot one movie on film, I would, but most people don't know. I mean, even most cinematographers now don't know how to fuck shoot on film. They got to go back to school to learn how to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, you're still seeing some people do it here and there, which is really cool. And like you were saying earlier, man, like on the set of, you know, the film, we see the Panavision there. But one thing I talk with about a lot of people is the fact of how cheap it is to make a movie nowadays. Now, when I say that, okay, it's still expensive to the average person that's still coming from nothing. Like, even though, all right, so when I was like 25 and I was like, you know what, I'm doing it. I'm making movies. I'm making feature films. I'm sick of talking about it. I went and I bought like a T6i Canon camera or something like that. And you could set it on 24 frames per second. You could get your shots nice and focused up depending on the lighting. I was like blown away. Like, it actually looked pretty cinematic. I'm like, man, $600, dude. Yeah. You know, like I got it look pretty decent. As I got through the film, I did notice some things I didn't like. And when that film was done, I ended up burying it and I never showed it to the world. But now, fast forward ahead, I just turned 40 in February. Now we have cameras that shoot in 4K, 24 frames per second, 60, whatever your preference is. I like to shoot in 24 personally, but the iPhone
right now, you can shoot just right. I actually shot a lot of my stop motion on my iPhone.
Do you got the 14 Pro Max?
No, actually, I'm still rocking the 11 Pro Max.
Dude, well, the 11, yeah, dude, you can. There are shots that you can do with an iPhone that look comparable to what you're going to shoot on a fucking $10,000 red camera.
Absolutely. And like, you know, you shoot a lot of films, you know, like lighting plays a big part in it. If you know how to light that shit right, you can make magic, you know. It's about that, you know. Then in post with color grading and all that shit, you could, you know, you just got to know how to use the tools.
Color grading's the magic.
Oh, hell yeah. You know, but now, like I said, like technology has gotten so advanced. So our prime example, like on the movie we're shooting now, so we got two Black Magics, right? Mm-hmm. My DP had bought back in when it first came out, the Ursa. So he paid a hefty price for that thing.
Yeah.
My other friend who borrowed his camera has a pocket Black Magic 6K camera.
Mm-hmm. Now
this thing costs a fraction of what that thing costs and outperforms it in every way possible. And that's, you know what I'm saying? So that just shows you how technology had just progressed. And like there's like a new, I think they're about to drop like a 12K camera that's like under $10,000. It's fucking insane, man.
I did. I seen that and I was looking at it and I was like, I don't know if I just want to keep upgrading and upgrading. Like I'm to the point now where I'm like, I can't notice a major difference between this and a red camera or any of the cameras that I have, man. It just, again, dude, you could shoot with a great camera. If you have terrible lighting, it's not going to matter anyway.
Yeah. Now, so I mean, pretty much your average camera now that shoots at 4K. You know, you can, and plus, you know, then you got lenses. You know, it's all about the lenses too. Mm-hmm. You can get, but I know my DP say he probably never buy another camera again. He'll just rent them. You know, he can build them. He got the shit to build out pretty much anything. So.
What is the favorite camera of yours that you guys shoot with?
Right now, I'll say the Black Magic, the Pocket. That one's pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's comparable to like the red cameras, which is weird because it's not Netflix certified. So if we try to send a movie to Netflix, even though all the specs of it it's a check off, it checks off on Netflix, it's not a Netflix certified camera. So I don't get it.
Yeah.
I would like to have what's that one camera you talked about getting, the Sony? What's that new Sony camera that came out?
I don't remember.
It's a new
FX9 or something.
Is it FX9? Is that the one? Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one looks pretty dope.
the cameras they have on that list, like I definitely they're great cameras, but they are a lot they left off that list for sure.
Yeah, so but I mean Netflix kind of bougie anyways.
Yeah, I mean it's not somebody that like I would ever think about read. I mean, yeah, it would be an awesome accomplishment to be on Netflix, but it's yeah, I think for the horror people, we're more focused on Prime and Tubi and
Tubi's the
Streambox.
dude. I told everybody, said, if I ain't get on Tubi, I'm all right. Because again, like I gotta stream it because a lot of people will never see. Well, they won't see any of our films if we don't stream them. And I said Tubi's a good platform for that. As long as I can still sell my own physical copies and like show it like at theaters, I'm cool. Like I said, what I'm saying? I just need that's because that artist was never gonna buy it or go to theater see it anyway, but they will stream it and that'll keep it, in the conscious of the
Yeah, they strongly support horror films because they strongly do well on their platform, man. I mean, dude, we're on Tubi constantly going down the rabbit hole, and there's so many great indie people there that would never get a chance somewhere else. And it's not because they're not good films; it's just because we kind of are getting out of it, but we've lived in an age to where if you don't have an agent acting on your behalf, nobody's accepting unsolicited material. So now we're in a part here where you can be your own distributor, you can make your own deals, you can go straight to the companies, and there's a little screening process. You know what I'm saying? You're going to put it through, and they're gonna either give you the green light or not. But I can tell you from some of the stuff I've seen on there, man, you have a damn good chance, no matter who you are. I've Strip Club Massacre, like there's things that like. Damn.
like I said, I'm all about independent films. I'll support everybody. There's some things I see that I don't know about this. I don't know how this got on here. But hey, that's great though. I mean, but there's what though? There's an audience for it. It wouldn't be on there if people didn't watch it. So there's something for everybody. So that's the beauty about it. And like, dude, I mean, it definitely is. This is our time to make a movie. I said, if I don't make a movie now, I'm never gonna make a movie because I have a chance. If I had to try to do this 20 years ago, it'd be very difficult for me, but now again, technology's working out. I'm older now. I understand how this really works. This is the best time to do it. And I tell anybody that make a movie now.
Yeah. And anybody watching this, man, that's the truth. 20, 30 years ago, we didn't have social media. Now you don't even have to pay to promote. You can just promote it. I mean, if you go on every platform and post your body of work, post your body of work and you tag the hell out of it, eventually the algorithm's going to see those tags and they're going to see the consistency, and at some point they're going to blow up. Dude, I spent my first year and 2 months on YouTube posting 4 videos a week, doing 1 live stream a week on my main channel, not making $1. The only reason I made money in that first year and 2 months is because I released a shirt, and the 120 people that actually watched me went and would buy the shirt and to support me. And like, oh, hey, he's giving us free content. I'll buy it. But then I'm sitting there one day, like a week away, not from quitting, but a week away from taking this big job that was offered to me. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I watched my subscribers go from 1,200 to 14,000 to 24,000 to 36. It stopped at like 60 something thousand. And I finally got a check, and I was able to call my job, and I was able to quit. And I didn't know if this was going to continue or if it was just like a blow up. And I'm like, okay, it's probably going to be a one and done. But I was thinking to myself, I've made it. I've done it. I've been full time ever since. It was like 5 years ago.
That's awesome, dude. I love hearing stories like this, man. Because I mean, you're proof that it can happen. You know what I'm saying? You just got to stick with it.
It's just consistency, bro. But that's with anything. Like if you didn't stay with consistency with film or no matter what you're doing, like it's gonna fall off. I mean, you put the work in, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't stress about it. I mean, I tell Chad, so everybody, I've made peace with myself, because I'm 44 years old. I was born in 1980, so I'm at the what most people say the mid part of my life. And I got my kid in here and stuff, and I'm just kind of like, I'm having fun making my movie, I mean, so no matter what, I made a movie, so that to me is a success, now
dude, that's winning.
Yeah, winning. If I can take that and make money off, real money off, that's great. But either way, I'm cool, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate my day job. I'm at You know what I'm saying? I'm not stressed about bills or nothing. So I'm cool with everything.
That's awesome, man. And because I mean, you know, again, no matter what you're doing, if you're not enjoying the ride, then what are you doing, right?
Yeah, you know, I think the worst thing is I know a lot of guys say like, this is my make or break year. If I don't do it this year, I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
don't do that to yourself. Like, come on, man, that's a
Right.
really like.
I see that a lot too, man. I'm constantly like reaching out to people and stuff and just being like, man, just keep, dude, I can see you're doing something good. Just like, if it means that much to you, just don't quit, bro. Like, that's the last thing you want to do. Like,
you can't predict this shit. You don't know what's going to happen.
Bro, anything I've ever done, I don't bet on myself that it's going to fail, but I go into it saying, just keep doing it, just like you said, because you love it. It makes you happy, and it does. Dude, I took a week off from YouTube like a year ago. Like, I'm a workhorse, bro. I grind like nobody's business, but I took a week off like a year ago, and that whole week, all I could think about was making content. And I hadn't taken a week off in like 3 years. So, like, my girl was just like, it's crazy. All week long, all you did was talk about like making content. And it goes to show you, man, it's like, you know, like, it is cool you can make money from it, but it's really cool to just be doing something you love, man, whether you're making money from it or not.
Oh yeah, definitely. My girl, she gets mad at me all the time. I do that shit. Like, all right, today we're gonna do family stuff. All right, but I'm still like my phone trying to figure out what I'm gonna do shooting next week. I mean, I can't help it, man. I mean, that's because like I don't go out. You know what I'm saying? My party that's way behind me. You know what I'm saying? Smoking cigarette, drink. I don't do none of that shit. I literally just come home. I'm very boring. You know, I work, play with the kids and stuff, and I work on my art. That's all I do now. So
that's cool, man. Well, let me ask you, where can people find you at online?
All right, so you can find me on my Instagram, which is literally my entire name, Christopher Jamal Elston. On my YouTube channel, I believe it's Chris J. Elston. And you'll know it's the guy with the lasers coming out of his eyes.
Very cool picture. If it weren't for that picture, man, that picture got me. It made me like go a step further and say, "Oh, okay, all right." So don't change the picture, bro.
What I was going for? I'm a branding guy. I love everything needs to have its own little thing. I say, I can't just put my picture up going like this. Like that's the guy that makes this. Like so it's got to be creative. I try to be creative with everything I do. Because it doesn't cost anything. Just a little bit of time, just make something. So.
Well, I love it, dude. And definitely check him out, guys. He's on Instagram. I follow him. You guys will see if you go to my Instagram. I don't follow a lot of people. It's not because I follow people that I'm a fan of. And that's the truth. So if you go to my Instagram, you'll see that I follow this guy. Definitely give him a follow. And hopefully, man, in the future, stay online with me. But hopefully in the future, we can circle back around like when a movie comes out or something.
Oh, definitely.
And talk about it some more, promote it and stuff like that. It'd be great.
Hell yeah,
I appreciate your time, brother.
Oh, thank you. This is great, man. I really enjoyed this.
Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. This is the Scream Scene. Post every week here. Make sure your notifications on, like, commenting, subscribing, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys in a few days, but until then, sweet nightmares.